Part 3. Shooting Skeet in a Squad. Let's begin by going in the upper left-hand corner and click on File. Then let's come down and click on Start Squad Session. And then in the Select Squad dialog box that opens where we're supposed to select a squad, let's go ahead and create a new squad so that you can see how you can create a squad on the fly as opposed to using the Edit Squad feature that I've shown you before. So I'm going to come down and click on New Squad. Now, when I do that, it's just like when we were working in the edit mode. We're going to start by going up here and putting a squad name in here. And this time, I'm simply going to call it Skeet Squad 1. Now, after giving it a name, I'm going to come down and select 5 shooters from those that are in my system. And if you can recall from the part 1, we had quite a number of shooters that were in the system. And I'm going to start this time by staying on the top of the list, and I'm going to select the top 5 shooters up here. And I simply going to do that by then putting a check mark in front of each one. Then when I click on OK, it takes me back to this dialog box where you can see that Skeet Squad 1 alphabetically comes before squad of 1, 2, 3, or 4, and so therefore it has been put alphabetically on this list. Now, just like in other situations, the order of the shooters in the squad may not be what you want in the end because these are simply now put in here in alphabetical order. So let's go ahead and click on Skeet Squad 1. Let's go ahead and click on OK. And now in the squad login dialog box that opens, let's do what we have done before, which is generally in the first case you want to pay attention to the layout at the top of the list. Now we're not interested in shooting Trap American Fixed, we're interested in shooting a Skeet layout, so I'm going to get there by clicking on Browse. And then over here in the Layouts area, I'm going to pick this time on Skeet American All Targets, or I could select Skeet American Round. I'm going to, I guess, start by selecting the round first. So I'll double click on that. Now you can see up here it says Skeet American Round. Now the next thing that I should do would be to put the shooters in the order that I want them in. Okay, and so I want Joe as shooter number 1. So I click on the up arrow, I move him up one more, I move him up again, and he's at the top. Then I want Peter as shooter number 2. So again, I'm going to click on the up arrow, up arrow, up arrow, and now Peter is number 2. Then I want Bob in position number 4, and I'm going to do that by clicking the down arrow, moving him to here, and now this is the order that I wanted. Joe, Peter, Danny, Bob, and Henry. Now, having put the shooters in the order that we want them to shoot in, the next thing we're going to look at is the stand that they're going to start shooting on. Now, if I click up here, it's already defaulted to stand number 1. And notice that the order seems to be station 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then station 8 high, and station 8 low. And that seems to make good sense. And if you're going to shoot a complete round, this is what you're going to want to have for each one of the shooters, because they're going to stand one behind the other on the shooting station just like they do outdoors. Now then, let's go over here and take a look at their shotgun. So I'm going to click on Joe's shotgun, which currently is set for trap singles. And let's go down here and select his Skeet gun. Let's for Peter come down and select his Skeet gun. And then again for Danny, let's go ahead and come down and select his Skeet gun. And then for Bob, let's go ahead and select his Skeet gun. And finally for Henry, let's go ahead and select his Skeet gun. All right, now everything that needs to be done here in the squatting login box has now been accomplished. And again, if all 5 members are present, you're going to want to leave these check marks in place. If one of them happens to be absent from the squad, you could go ahead and unclick it, and that would remove Danny from the process. But let's put Danny back in because he is here. Now, that's the squad login dialog box. Now I'm going to click OK. Now next I'm going to come up here and I want you to take a look in the target window up here, and I want to try and explain something. We're doing a round with our squatting software, and if you look underneath here, this is the order of what's going to happen. So when shooter number 1, Joe, comes up to station number 1, he's first going to shoot a high house, then he's going to shoot a low house, and then he's going to shoot a pair on station number 1, just exactly like outdoors. Then down here, Joe is now going to be moved to the back of the line, and that is done basically by this rose-colored area which indicates who the next shooter is. We'll move on down to Peter. And when Peter steps up to the line, again, he's going to shoot station 1 high, then a station 1 low, and then a station 1 pair. And of course, this process will repeat until everybody in the squad of 5 has shot station 1. And then when dry fire moves on to station number 2, and Joe is the first shooter, then this list takes over again. So he will be shooting a station 2 high house, a station 2 low house, and a station 2 pair. So the point I'm trying to make here is when we get into the squatting software, even though over on the squad login dialog box, we showed that we were going to start on station number 1 and then the next thing was station number 2, we haven't forgot the detail about what the target order is normally outdoors on these various locations. So if you were to go ahead and scan on down through here, then what is in this list is exactly what each shooter is going to encounter, with the 23rd target being station 8 high and the 24th target being station 8 low. All right. Now, moving on from there, what I'm going to do at this point in time is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shoot a few targets for Joe, and then shoot a few targets for Peter, and then we're going to bring this to a close because I just want you to be able to see the sequence of how this is all going to go. So I'm now have my gun up. I'm going to call for a target, and this should be a station 1 high house. Pull. All right. Shot the station 1 high house. See the target in front of us. Now, the next thing it's going to be is I'm going to get a station 1 low house. And notice if we go up in here to the corner, it now says station 1 low. All right. Pull. All right. Shot the station 1 low house. And now looking back into the target window, it has advanced to station 1 high low. So this time when I call pull, I should get the station 1 pair. Pull. All right. Now, that takes care of Joe shooting on station number 1. Note here that when the pair took place, we consolidated the image here on the left half of the screen, and then we consolidated the second shot on the right-hand side of the screen. And this is the way the order always is. The first shot is always on the left-hand side of the window, and the second shot is always on the right hand. And it makes no difference which direction the targets are moving. That's just the way it always is. Now, one final thing, let's take a look up here and notice that since Joe hit all 4 targets, he now has a score of 4, and the rose color has moved on down, and now Peter is the one on deck. It also says up here, Peter, it's your turn. And notice back here in the top left, it also says Peter is now going to get a station 1 high house. So let's go ahead and take care of that. Pull. Okay, Peter shot his first shot. Notice over on the scoreboard that he got 1 for that. Here's his second shot. Pull. Peter got the second shot. Here's his pair. Pull. All right. So that then is showing you the first 2 shooters. And of course it moved on down to Danny. Now I'm not going to go all the way through the squad of 5 to show you this shooting, but when Henry has finally taken his 4 shots, basically it's going to be Joe's time again, and this time Joe is going to be confronted with station 2 high house. All right, now let's go ahead and in effect terminate this round in a short fashion and show you what you're going to get printed if you want to print it, or you can save it as a PDF file. So I can stop the round at any time I want by clicking Finish Round, which I'm going to do. And notice that immediately a dialog box comes up and it's called Squad Results. And the purpose of Squad Results is to show you in a capsule form the unique information that has been massaged a little bit to give you some good facts and figures. And it works in the following fashion. This portion in the top, which is now highlighted, is basically the condensed information. This will be pre-printed if you want to print the piece of paper on the top half of your 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And on the bottom half of the 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, the exact results of every shot will be shown you, such as you hit the target was at a certain distance, your pointing error was a certain amount, and all of that very technical shot-by-shot information. The part that I want to now show you is the following. You have your choice of printing individual shooters, one sheet of paper for each one of them, and that would be done by selecting one of these 5 tabs up here on the top. For instance, if Bob were selected, and if this point I went down and clicked on this print button, I simply get a 8.5 by 11 of Bob's information. Then if I also wanted Peter's information, I can click on Peter and click the print button again. However, if I just simply want a one-page report for each one of the shooters, I then do not have to do anything about the tabs on the top. I simply come down to the bottom and click on Print All, and I'll get 5 sheets of paper coming out of the printer. Now, the final thing that I can do is I can save that information for all 5 of the shooters in a PDF form by simply coming down and clicking on Save as a PDF. And what that will do will create one document that has 5 pages to it. That means that having saved this one page, I've got everybody's information, and if in the future I want to print any of that information, I simply open up that PDF file and I can select page by page, or I can print all 5 pages. So this happens every time that you either stop a round from completing or it completes in its natural fashion, which in this case would be after every shooter has shot 24 targets. And this is done so because the information that has been collected during the round will be discarded, and you will not be able to replicate this information if you do not take it at this point. So when the round is complete, we immediately take you to the squad results, where you have the choice of simply looking at the data, the summary data that's on the top, printing a copy for each person, or saving a PDF file for each person. And when that's done, you're going to come over here and click on OK. And right now, all of that information for that round has been lost forever. It cannot be recovered. It then takes you back, because we finished this either in a natural fashion or by stopping it with the Finish button. It then takes you back, and everybody is ready for another round if that's what you want to do. And it could be as simple as you just simply clicking on OK, and everybody goes back to their Station 1 location to begin shooting. We hope this helps you.